This is one of the ruins of the Ohio Erie Canal. You may see, it shows you how deep these canals were. This shows you how well done it is. Keep in mind, this was made in the early 1800s, when people actually used their hands. They didn't have machinery. You may see, take a look at the brickwork, as you may see up front. Very well done brickwork. It's just beginning to deteriorate a little bit, but again, you can see where they put a lot of work and energy in on this. This is how the bed would look right here. And imagine you'd be seeing water all around here, right where all that tree is. That was water. You would have a little footpath right here, along here on the other side, and it would be for horses to walk up and down walk up and down. You would actually feed the horses, and again, the idea was to actually permit them to run. Right now we're just outside Lockbourne. We're in between Lockbourne and the Air National Guard base, as you may see. There's the Air National Guard base right over those tree lines over there, and this is Lock Road, just south of This is just south of Columbus right here. This is just one of the areas. Again, they have a little parking area right here. Surprised the state don't ever try to make this like a historical area or a marker area right here, because I think this would be a fitting area to mark it. I'm gonna take another view of it right here. As you may see right here, this is how deep the crevices were. As you may see, I'm pretty much standing underneath it, and you can see the ground. And you may see right now at my foot level right here, and take a look. This is a big, pretty reasonable size area. Let me try to move over so you can see better light here. But as you may see, this is right here. You can see where the ruins of where the gate would have been. And what happened is it would have built a whole lot of water. So then the vehicle would have, then the boats would have came straight through. As you may see right here, this is again, this is just underneath the canal right here. As you may see, then the canals are nothing more than just ditches which were designed to actually permit canal boats to go throughout the state. The system would work. Again, this one was just part of it. This is basically, this part right here was the main canal. Although we have another part that would actually go straight to Columbus, because again, the canal didn't go through Columbus. It basically went outside of Columbus on the south end. And you got to remember too, Columbus wasn't as big a city as it is now, because this would have been well outside of the city limits. You got to remember, Columbus was a very small town at the time. Again, and this is where, keep in mind, right where we're standing right here, right, like all these trees, this all would have been part of that ditch that they built. So again, it's interesting to see how different the canals are. Here we go. Here's another preserved example of another canal that we made for the Ohio Erie Canal system. Again, this is another example of the canals. It's obvious that phone pole was in there, because again, right where this is one of the footpaths for the horses. Again, as we go in there, you're gonna see basically a real live waterway, and you'll even see some parts of the gates here. Again, as you may see, the years haven't been too nice. So again, please keep in mind, these are ruins of the canal. As you may see right here, you can see the water still flowing here. This is an example of how the canal system worked. Now imagine this being a little bit higher. Again, it would be about roughly to where the water, right where we see the whiteness begin. That's probably where the water line would be at, because again, these were deep holes. And you may see the trees and shrub. Shows the years of abandonment pretty much. You can see the years of abandonment. You'll see how these things were. And as you may see, you might not see it too well on this one, but you'll see it on the next slide. These were 2 lanes. So this wasn't a cheap endeavor. And again, you can see the quality of the workmanship right here. Take a look at it. See how they stoned it in. These stones, believe it or not, are still here and still solid. You may see it's still built to last despite all the tree overgrowth and everything, and being abandoned for roughly well over 100 years, because they're abandoned after the Great Flood of 1913. Very unlucky year. But as you may see, you can see the waterway. See where some of the trees are grown in, so it pretty much gives you a whiff of how the system worked. And as you may see, it's still working to this date pretty much. Proof enough that it wasn't a bad investment, that it couldn't still been preserved. But it's understandable that, again, the railroad is what destroyed it. Another reason why these canals went the way they did too, and another factor is right next to this thing, right next to this canal, there's a railway right across from here. You come up here, when you come up here and visit, you'll hear it sometimes because you'll have trains come rumbling through. And basically, is this an example of how, you know, technology finally caught up with the canals. Some people would argue there was other factors too, such as the fact that the canal system was privatized. But again, like right now, as you may see, this open field that we're at, pardon my pile of bolts. This is we're right near Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base, or Rickenbacker Airport. And again, on a good day, you probably have the cannons fly dead over. You'll even hear the railroad even on the other side of the fence here. Again, this, and then again, the last canal, we're just down the road from. Again, this is all on Canal Street, I believe. At least that's what they call it, Canal Street. And again, a lot of people come up here, take a look at these all the time. I think it's worthy of a field trip, definitely. Again, if I was teaching a history class, I would definitely take my students up here to see how these canals work and realize that these were not just mere ditches and mere, you know, they were basically the precursor to the railroad. Because a lot of businesses that did take over these canals, when they did try to privatize them, were railroad interests, and like any other entity. And again, this is the controversial part of the argument. The railroad would actually take over some of the land and use it for their interest. Because again, as you may see right here, this is right next to a prominent railroad track. It's right next to the Norfolk Southern, which is just a few meters, probably at best maybe roughly about 2 football fields away from each other. Again, if you come up here, sometimes you see the train running, you'll actually hear it loud, all up to the engines, even the air brakes. Yeah. Right here on Canal Road, as you may see, this is Canal Road. This is where the first 2 locks of the Central Ohio part of the canal of the Ohio Erie Canal is at. Again, you can see right here, this is one of the railroad tracks right here. This is proof enough that as of today, you know, this route is still used, but it's used by the railroad. Right here, this is the part of what was once the B&O, now the Norfolk Southern line. I think it's also CHX, I believe. Again, I'll do better research on it, and I'll have it in my blog. As you may see, this is the entrance into Lockbourne, which is a major city for the canal. Because again, this part of the canal right here didn't go into Columbus. You got to remember, Columbus was a real small town when they had the canal system. Columbus was probably smaller than most cities at the time. It was what they would call the one-horse town, as many residents who lived here during the time period would accuse it of being. Again, there's Canal Street right there. There's the street right there, Canal. Again, you could enter it from Hamilton Road or 317 or London Groveport Road, as it's called once you get. It's just past the Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base when you get here. That's what replaced canals, the railroad. Right here is one of the only. Again, right here in Lockbourne, this is the main park, and this is like one of the few markers that actually tell you what these ruins are. And this is the Ohio Erie Canal marker. It tells you how long it was. Tell you where it went from, who constructed it, and the date. Again, it went from Cleveland to Portsmouth. It's constructed from 1829 to 1830, so it's 2 years. Again, it's an impressive feat if you consider the fact that this was done without heavy-duty equipment, like we take for granted now. We have heavy-duty equipment and everything else. Considering that, this was a great achievement. Again, you can also see here too, it also tells you that the first boat through the canal. It tells you the length of each chamber. And it tells you Lockbourne was founded in 1831 by James Kilbourne, who I think would later on. Again, forgive me for being off track again. I'll document this, but again, I think he was one of the major wheelers and dealers in Ohio at the time. Easily one of the biggest politicians, because again, they named one of the schools up in Worthington, Ohio, which is just suburb north of Columbus, after James Kilbourne, called Worthington Kilbourne. I ran their 5K once, a very fun 5K. Again, you can see another part of the canal right here. Again, this is during heavy rains. You can, like at the last one, you can see water. Again, we just had some heavy rains here in Ohio this summer, so you can see some of the water. Forgive me for swapping a lot, but there's a lot of mosquitoes up here, so I definitely recommend when you come up here where deep woods offer, you will have a bad problem. But look at how big this canal is. Look how deep it goes. You can still see it's still holding water, even though, again, this canal system's been abandoned for roughly 100 years. It was abandoned in 1913 after the Great West Side Flood. As you may see, you can see a lot of tree overgrown in it. You can see where trees aren't even grown in between the bricks. Which again, you can see, you look on the parts that weren't affected were well made. Because again, I do work on homes. Again, as a construction laborer, I used to work on homes that were maybe half the age of these canal locks, and they would have they would have worse cracks than this. Especially when I worked for this one construction company that did restoration, and they would have worse chunks than this. So you can see it was well made, pretty well made. And again, you got to remember, they didn't have in the 1820s, 1830s. We didn't have the power tools we have now, like bobcats, caterpillars, and all that stuff. As you may see right here, I actually took and made a photo of this. You can probably look around for it on my Flickr page. Again, I think it shows you the growth that's been going on here. Again, it shows you that this has been abandoned for a long time. And there you go. There's a canalway. Just imagine horses just walking down this and taking canal boats, let's say to Portsmouth, easily. Got another one on the other side, and it shows you how big this was. I'm gonna get over to the other side here. Let's hope I don't fall over. I'm not wearing my good shoes today. I usually wear my boots, but I decided to be a little more comfortable and casual today, can I say. You can see two on the other. You can see you had two sides of this canal system. You had this side, then you had the other side. On the other side, same story. You had more than likely you had a horse path. So what horses would do is they would tow the boats. These boats, again, you got to remember, this is when you had real horsepower. You didn't have the steam engine. I mean, steam engine was about where computers were in the 70s, and about where data phones were about a decade ago. It's pretty much a new thing, and you had your hands on a steam engine, you were somebody. But that's another factor that also killed off the canal boats too, the advent of steam and the railroads. Again, that's a whole nother video we'll probably make. But again, as you may see, look how big this canal area is. Again, I zoomed it out a little bit so you can see a great big void. And again, these canal boats, you see how long this is. Zoomed it in. And as you may see, I'm going to try to guess, just from the footpath to that wall is roughly a good, I say, football field, at least 100 feet easy. I say roughly about probably the length of a soccer field, which is roughly about the same size as an American football field. So I say about maybe about 100 meters for my European viewers. Again, I'm giving rough estimates. Again, I could get accurate with a laser beam, but again, I'm not in the mood to take a big swim. But again, this it shows you the hard work that was put into the canal system. And again, this is just part of it. Again, I intend to make a bigger video because I want to go statewide. Again, if we go statewide, you can still even see where the boats are still used, because they actually got parts of the canal, especially up near northeast Ohio, where they still use canal boats. You can actually ride one. You can even experience the fun of, ride the horses and see the water flow. But again, this is one of my more favorite parts of the tree right here. And I'm going on and on. Please forgive me if I did delete me. Again, you see the water right here. You see where the trees have grown. It says it'd be pretty much swampy. You'd be like dumping in a swamp. This is the part I like the most. You can see where even the trees then grown this out. Now right here. Now the final part I want to do today is I want to take a look at the historical marker right here. This is one of the historical markers we have based up here. This is one of them. It tells you about the feeder canal lock. It tells you all about the feeder canal, which is also part of this system. And this also tells you about the Ohio Erie canal lock system. It tells you more about the canal. Tell you why it was built, how it was basically a great engineering feat for Ohio up to the time, and it basically provided transportation resources that wouldn't be provided until the advent of the railroad. And again, I'll also talk all about the lock tender's house, which was adjacent to Lock 30. This is the entrance into the canal park right here. This is called Canal Meadows Park right here. This is one of the signs. There's the road. As you may see, take the road down, it takes you right down to the park right there. Along with this sign, we also have this memorial for our veterans. Lockbourne Veterans Memorial. You may see all branches of the military, Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, I think the Coast Guard, and the POW flag, along with the American flag. And it got the red, white, and blue. Then you got the memorials for each of the corresponding forces. Again, yep.